Hey everybody, welcome to today's Ask a Shrink, where I want to talk about why excessive talking can drive victims of emotional incest nuts. Hang on. Okay, this topic may sound a little out there to some of you, like why does excessive talking drive victims of emotional incest nuts? You know, excessive talking sometimes can drive anybody nuts, but particularly for victims of emotional incest, because so many of us who are victims have been taken over by a narcissistic parent. It doesn't always have to be a parent with narcissistic traits or narcissistic personality disorder, but quite often it is, because that's the kind of person who meets the criteria to be able to take over one of their own children for their own needs. I mean, think about that. Somebody who's in a bad marriage, or they're unhappy, or for whatever reason, they decide, I don't like my life here, so I'm gonna zoom in and take over one of my own kids. You know, that's pretty ballsy, right? Well, part of that ballsiness comes from the fact that they have narcissistic traits. That is very common. But again, just to clarify, they don't actually have to have narcissistic traits. They can be just somebody who's deeply unhappy. But even then, we have somebody who's making it all about them. They're willing to sacrifice their own child for their own needs. That's what emotional incest is all about. And I'm not going to go into right now too specifically about what emotional incest is. I've done several videos on it. For those of you who are maybe wondering what this is about or watching me for the first time, click up right now on what is emotional incest and you can get an overview. So let's look at the narcissist. If it's all about them, and it is, then they want everybody to hear and know how they're feeling, even though there's not much depth to it whatsoever. That's usually the case. But it's all about the huff and the puff for the narcissist. They have to count. They have to matter. They're focused on their needs, have very little empathy, and it's generally hard for them to even understand what another person is feeling, what they're all about, what they're going through. And for somebody on the receiving end of this, that's difficult to tolerate. And it's very common with victims of emotional incest because typically that narcissistic trait is coming out. I know with my own mother, she had narcissistic traits for sure. It was all about her. And so my role was to hear all her adult problems all the time. And she could just ramble on and on about how her day was, who she had lunch with, where she's going to go shopping tomorrow. Do you like my hair? Do you like how I've had it done? Problems with her friends, problems with her work situation, problems with her husband, my father, I had to hear about. And that's that on and on and on, droning on and on, that oftentimes victims of emotional incest have to put up with. So not only is it uncomfortable in this level I'm describing right now, but in general, in society, we see a much more entitled narcissistic type of society, especially with the prevalence of social media. People are very me focused. It doesn't help people get in touch with who they are, have meaningful relationships, convey the truth, be authentic, have empathy and understand where the other person is coming from as much. It promotes a me-first attitude. So I've done another video about toxic talking, and you can click up right now for that one if you're interested in understanding more about this topic. The ability of somebody to drone on and not understand the impact onto the people around them is an issue worth talking about. Oftentimes that comes from a very empty, scary place for people. They don't know what to do with that nervous energy, that insecurity they're feeling. They're in a way trying to fill every moment because they're afraid of looking inward, of going deeper on some level. So there are a lot of psychological reasons for this. Hopefully this kind of talk is helpful to some of you out there. Please leave me some comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts or opinions about this. Please subscribe to my mental health YouTube channel if you like these kind of videos. And until next week, this is Brad Shore signing off from Ask a Shrink.